month in Everyday Food Magazine, we did this great story. It's meatball takes on classic dishes like beef stroganoff, chicken parmesan, shrimp scampi. Today I'm making the beef stroganoff version, and I think you're really gonna like it. It's kind of fun, right? A little bit of a twist. Come learn how to make it. These shallots are gonna flavor both the sauce and the meatballs. They're working double time. My eyes are starting to sting. I can tell already. I'm putting on my handy dandy onion goggles. What do you think? Cute, huh? Look like I'm about to go skiing. Let's see if they work. You know, I've previously tried regular sunglasses, holding a match between my teeth. Didn't work at all. So does this work? So far, so good. My eyes had started stinging and now they don't. I'm just gonna wear these all the time. I don't even need to be cutting onions because they look so cool. Look at that huge pile of shallots, and nary a tear was shed. I'm for them. I'm all for them. Get some. 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Throw that 3 tablespoons of butter in your pot. Melt it up. Shallots can go in too. Probably should have waited for the butter to melt. Stop your rushing right now. Cooking takes time. Let these shallots cook up with this butter. It'll take a couple minutes. While the shallots are starting to cook, you can get your breadcrumb mixture ready. And you know what I say, ABP, always be prepping. So I'm gonna go over and prep some more stuff. Take a nice large bowl, half a cup of dry breadcrumbs. You can make your own dry breadcrumbs or buy some. Half a cup of milk. The milk helps rehydrate the breadcrumbs. Then 3/4 of a teaspoon of coarse salt. You know, we don't always do measured amounts of salt and pepper, but in this recipe we do because, well, you don't really want to be tasting raw meat, so we've done the tasting for you. 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. Let's check on those shallots. They're ready. Take 1/4 cup of these shallots and transfer it to that breadcrumb mixture, and then the rest are going to be for the sauce. Stir the shallots into the breadcrumb mixture, then add your meat, 1 pound of lean ground meat. And then stir it together. Now this is the crucial part. Be careful. You don't want to over stir it because nobody wants tough meatballs, right? I know you don't. I'm going to use a little ice cream scoop to scoop them onto a baking sheet. I'm going to cook these in the oven, which saves a lot of time instead of browning them in the pan. If you wanted nice round ones, like, you know, what you would expect, like a nice round ball, you'd have to go back in and roll them between your hands to make them a perfect shape. I don't really find that that's necessary, but if you want to, by all means, go ahead and do it. Put them in a 500-degree oven and then turn them once during cooking. They should take about 7 minutes. While those guys are cooking, you want to start your pasta. 3/4 of a pound of any kind of pasta you want. I'm going to use spaghetti. Make sure your water's salty like the sea. Throw that in, stir that baby around, and then you get to the stroganoff part, which is the mushrooms. I have a pound of mixed mushrooms, a combination of shiitakes and cremini. You can do whatever you want. Honestly, you could use white mushrooms here if you wanted to. Brush them off because, you know what, they're kind of dirty. It's not often I encourage people to be lazy, but if you wanted to, you could use those pre-sliced, which also means pre-cleaned mushrooms. Time to turn the meatballs. They've been in there for a few minutes. They're already starting to sizzle. I like a nice hot temperature. Gently turn them. You can use tongs or a spatula or whatever. You just want to make sure that they're cooking evenly. If you don't turn them, they won't cook evenly. See how delicate they are? They're almost falling apart. I like them to be just on the verge. When they cook and the proteins solidify, they will totally hold together, but they'll be delicate. These can go back in for about 4 more minutes. At long last, they're clean. Jessie, my kitchen assistant / producer, she says I'm supposed to line them up on the board. I don't even know what that means, but I'm trying it. And then you just cut down the row. Oh, all right, I get it. That way you don't have to stop and like reposition and grab another mushroom every time. It's very efficient. I take back my recommendation of buying pre-sliced mushrooms and encourage you to try this method. Look at that. Oh my God, the time I saved. La. These guys can come out. Oh, look at that. Bubbly and delicious. They can just get set aside for a sec. Save some pasta water. Very important. 2.5 cups. Now you drain your pasta. Always save pasta water. Now you can saute your mushrooms. I actually turned the heat off underneath my shallots for a few minutes because I was doing some other stuff, so I'm turning it back on. And the mushrooms can go straight into that pan. So it was a pound of mushrooms into their nice big pot. Make sure your pot's still hot though. You want to just cook these until they start to release some of their liquid and soften and get a little bit brown. That should take about 5 minutes. One of the final flavors of beef stroganoff, besides the beef and the mushrooms and the sour cream, is some dill. These are cooked down enough. Mushroomy. Season with a little bit of salt, and then add all that pasta liquid, and you're gonna cook that down to make the sauce. You need to bring it to a boil and then let it reduce by about half. That should also take about 5 minutes. I believe that the liquid has sufficiently reduced, so turn off the heat for the next step because you're adding sour cream and you don't want it to break. Your 1 cup of sour cream, just stir that into your mushroom. Stir that around, then add half the dill, about 2 tablespoons. Yep. Stir in your dill, let it waft, and then add your meatballs. They're already cooked, so they don't need to cook anymore. You just want to, if they've cooled off slightly, which is possible, depending on your timing, you want to heat them through in your nice hot sauce. Be gentle when you're adding your meatballs though, because remember how delicate they were because you barely touched them when you were mixing it? Well, you want to make sure that they don't fall apart while you're stirring it. And then you can serve yourself. Make sure you use a nice big spoon so that you get some of the sauce and spoon it over your pasta. And all the delicious sauce will seep into your pasta and coat deliciously. And you're going to be really happy. Give it a little sprinkle of fresh dill. You have all the flavors of a classic beef stroganoff with a twist. And everybody loves meatballs, right?